Welcome in to Trust the Process Live. It was a good week in Philadelphia sports. Gentlemen, as always, I am your host, James Hyden. Hello, how you doing? You get to see me this week because I choose so, and not because you told me to, which you didn't, but I make the rules here. So, guys, how we doing? Mr. Five Digits, Max Coolish, what's up, my guy?
I'm great.
Yeah?
I'm great. It was a good week.
It's been
much better than last week.
It's been a good week, right?
Much better than last week.
Beautiful.
Hi,
Josh,
Facebook.
you got a new seat, baby. How you doing?
I got a new seat, missing our guy JJ over here, but hey, I'm doing
Too
good.
scared to show his face after the Bucks let the Chargers put a 30-piece on him.
Actually, you know what? I didn't even think about that being the possible reason why
I wanted to make
he
fun of him
didn't
so
show
bad
up.
because this is the perfect week to say the Bucks can't win the Super Bowl because they let the Chargers do that. But
Oof. That's a deep cut, my guy.
whatever.
From the jump.
I don't get to. It doesn't mean the same. He's not here.
Yeah, you're right. You know what? We'll save that for him. We'll have him check tape. Even though we know he's not the biggest film room guy, we'll get him in there.
The eye test does all you need.
Wow. We're going to get right into it. The eye test, speaking of, not sure what it told you last night, but it's a W. That's a dub. That's a dub. That's a dub. That's
an
a dub.
earned W. That's a road win.
Okay.
I don't care back at
Save
QB or
that.
not.
Save that because
Okay.
we're going to get back to that.
Okay.
But
I can
a
just-
win is a win is a win is a win is a win, right? That's the old adage. Cool. Now, what I will say, and I'm going to give you guys the first question. So, it was much maligned last week. It was much talked about was Dougie P. His play calling, his aggressiveness, this, that, and the other thing. But is this one different? Is this now, did we see Doug P get his mojo back? Does Doug have the swagger? Is he back? Max.
I don't know if I'd say it's back. It's like, I'm going to say that Doug's mojo being back is like the University of Texas being back, where I'm hearing it.
Texas has never been back.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Oh, okay.
like, I don't
All
like
right.
when people are trying to
Okay.
say that someone's back after one game after major questions. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I think maybe comparing Doug to Texas is a bit unfair to Doug, but that is just
That's a rough
always
cut.
fun being extreme. But realistically, I still, obviously he did well enough to get them out of there. I'm still not totally in love with how the way things were planned out and everything. I would have liked to have seen them maybe try to do a little bit more with the run game, as weird as that sounds, because the only thing they really tried doing was running between guards and tackles with a corresponding motion from side to side, depending on what they were doing. And that's fine. I mean, you don't really have a ton of options in terms of running, but it felt like this week Sanders, he ran away from Sanders for running because Sanders didn't start hot. Whereas last week we're like, what the hell are you doing? Sanders is averaging 10 yards or 7 yards a carry through 10 carries. Why are you not giving him the ball more? This week it's like, hey, no, this week he's only averaging whatever it was. It wasn't.
It was like 3 yards.
Yeah, it was like 3.
Maybe less.
It was not great. It was definitely not what you're looking for in terms of an efficient running game. And I feel like that's why this week he got away from it. But in the second half we were up, like especially late in the game. That was not a 5-point Eagles win. The Eagles dominated that game for the most part, especially as the game grew. The Eagles clearly started to pull ahead as the better team playing last night. And I almost don't feel like the way the last 8-ish minutes of the game were managed really show that. I feel like the Eagles should have had a convincing double-digit victory after what happened, and then they let C.J. Beathard come out and kind of tear him apart. I know that's kind of getting away from Doug, but I think wrapping back around, if the run game was more committed to, was more established at that point, you may be having a little bit easier time running that late in the game, especially if the offensive linemen are running one run snap every 4 or 5.
17 points from your offense, though?
I mean,
I'm not sure. I want you to tell me.
That's why I'm not
Right,
like
okay.
I'm not all back
Okay.
in on
All right,
Doug
I'm
yet
with you.
because
I'm with
the offense was still pretty anemic last night. I mean, granted, this is if I had $1 for every time the Eagles were working with nobodies on the field,
God.
Exactly.
you know what I mean? So it's a classic catch-22 where the offense as a whole didn't look great, but when you put it into perspective that we have some guy who's literally activated off the practice squad the day before the game, catch the game-winning touchdown.
Good for Travis Fulgham.
Good for Travis Fulgham
Travis
for sure,
Fulgham.
for sure. And I hope he does number 13 well, because I know that would be a great thing for the fans to be like, hey, he would easily become a fan favorite, even if he's like not a dynamic playmaker. If he just has short hands, this whole fan base would be like, this guy's way better than the last 13 we had
Cold
to
hero.
catch the ball. Like literally, that's all it takes.
Yeah.
So I don't want to keep talking because I know you're chomping at the bit to get
know.
in here. So I'm just going to say that I'm not fully back on board with Doug yet, but it definitely showed promising signs that the foundation is still there.
Josh, where do you land, man? Swagger back, Mojo back, or are we still Mojo-less?
I think you got to give him credit. And I think,
All right.
we play the blame game here every week where we find one guy and give him
good
a
at
certain percentage of the blame. I'm going to find Doug Peterson and give him 90% of the credit for this game. Maybe I'll go lower. I'll go 80.
A little lower.
Because I think
Yeah,
Carson
that's
Wentz
a little bit better.
really executed. We'll touch on that in a second.
Yep.
But last night's game was a game between two teams that were playing with a bunch of understudies. I mean,
That's a good way to put it.
That is a very good way to
these
put
were
it.
these guys who've been waiting in the wings, waiting to step up, and a lot of guys on both teams did step up, but it was still not like an NFL football game. It was very flat, and I think it ended up coming down to a lot of the X's and O's. And like you were saying, I'm not ready to jump all on board and say, Dougie P is back, Big Balls Doug is back. But you know why he went for 2 right away on the first score. He was tired of hearing that he lost his
Honestly,
mojo.
I thought how can you be confident that your offense is going to be, after what you've seen the first 3 weeks, especially if a defense you know is good. It doesn't matter how many injuries they have. You know that defense is good, and you're on the road. I thought that was a great.
I agree.
I think that's a great way to encapsulate his performance last night. Was just that right. And if it didn't work out, we would kill him. Right. That's the nature of these decisions you
I
make as a
actually
coach.
disagree that time.
Really?
Because I think it's one of those times where he's playing desperate. We're all desperate. And it was one of those things where it's like, you know what, Doug? You proved something to yourself. You proved something to your team. And if they would have not gotten it, you're right, we would have been a little bit crazy. But I know personally, I would have said, I like the risk.
I'm going to counterpoint you. And
Let's hear it.
I think that going for the 2 when you don't need to, especially in the first touchdown, like it's your opening drive or second drive, whatever it was, I think that's the perfect time to do it.
Yeah.
But just on the flip side of that, if that doesn't go in, the Eagles are up 16-14, and that means the field goal puts them down. It means the whole way that second half shakes out is different because the 49ers are having to press for a touchdown. The field goal doesn't do them any good at that point. So I think ultimately the Eagles were still a better team last night. I think if they would have lost, it would have been probably because of a failed 2-point conversion. It would have been one of those you lose by a point.
Or because of a made 2-point conversion.
Or because of a made 2-point conversion, exactly. But I totally think that was. I'm not going to criticize the decision, but I just think you have to keep it in perspective that if it doesn't go wrong, they probably still would have been fine. But if it does go wrong, that can can become tumultuous down the line.
Let me ask you this about the 2-point conversion. Do you think that was pre-planned or not? Because I'm wondering.
Definitely.
I totally agree. There was no hesitation.
That was the 16th play on the 15
On the scripted
playing
play?
game script. Yeah, that was number 16.
I was
I
just
disagree.
wondering.
I don't know if I'd call it the 16th play. I think that was their dead set whenever we score.
That's what I mean. Like like 15 plays,
Okay.
15 we're going to run through, and then if we get there, if we score a touchdown, 16 for the 2-point.
I think that play was the 2-point conversion play. They were going to run their first touchdown, whether it came first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, or if it's 0-0 and they need to go for a win with 2 minutes left.
The only thing I'd say about that is it was timed out perfectly then, because the play right before it was the read option where Wentz took it himself, and he had that great touchdown. So to come off the read option, do another read option, and throw it right after that. That brings me back to that's good Doug play calling. That's Doug getting his mojo back.
That's simple. That's what it needed to be. It needs to be just like, I don't know. Something needed to go back to basics after the last couple of weeks. I don't know if the Eagles clearly aren't changing the game in terms of what they've been doing on offense, but clearly something was bloated in their scheming. It just wasn't fitting right, and just seeing them go back to more simple play calls, just more read options, honestly, more RPOs. It was good and refreshing. That is the offense that I've seen come to have success against any defense they've played over the tenure of Doug. And it's nice to see him realize that works for him and this team and this quarterback in a tough road game against a good defense. So I think that's a huge positive to take.
Go for
No, I was just saying, against the former NFC champs. I'm going to just keep saying that, no matter how depleted they were.
Honestly, the former NFC champs are all in IR. But, that's...
Jerseys are the same.
Yeah, I
Hey,
wish...
George Kittle played last night.
Oh,
yeah,
did he?
you're right. I'm sorry. One out of the whole team that made it to the Super Bowl.
200 yards.
If 49ers could pick one guy to play for them, and
it's definitely
their
George
next
Kittle.
five best players
it might be tough between him and Nick Bosa.
That's what I was thinking.
But that was, So let me ask you this question then. I said it before. You only got 17 points out of your offense, and make no doubt about it, that interception was pure Nick Mullins being Nick Mullins.
So with the bow.
Was this? And I'll preface this by saying also that 2-point conversion where he threw to Kittle, could have obviously run that in. That was, again, inexperienced guy making the wrong read. So was it more the Eagles won this game, or did the 49ers blow it? Did they lose this game? Josh, like who did we see an Eagles win, or did we see a 49ers loss?
That's a tough one, and I hate copping out and saying something like,
cop out.
It was kind of this, it was kind of that. I'm big on going one way or the other. And my gut says that the Eagles won that game.
I like it.
But the Eagles only won that game because they made less mistakes than the other team. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? You saying that, I'm going to change the question.
All right.
I'm going to change it to, did Carson Wentz win this game, or did the 49ers lose this game?
Well, if you change the question to that, I'm going to say there's no doubt in my mind that Carson Wentz won this game.
Tell me why.
And that takes a lot for me to say after last week. I was calling for his head. And you know what? We'll get to that later. I'm still far from pleased with what I've seen from Wentz. But the fact that he came out there with no cast again, we're saying this for the 12th, 13th time, talking about Wentz getting it done with no cast. But last week we're seeing him against the Bengals. I came here and said Carson Wentz is the reason that they did not walk out of here with a W. I'm saying, yeah, against the Bengals. This week, Carson Wentz is the reason they walked out of here with the W because he just got away to get yards. He made the big play when it mattered most, and there were some bad passes that he made. Then you look at that Travis Fulgham pass, where he literally, it's like the sweetest flick of a wrist, this small arm motion, it's right in Fulgham's breadbasket. I think Wentz won this game. 49ers, that's in a completely different conversation. I'm sure we'll get to it after Max talks. Let's hear it, Max.
I mean, you have to say the Eagles won this game, right? How can you, especially, right, the 49ers are banged up to hell. They're playing, I think really all it comes down to is backup quarterback versus starting quarterback. Like, you can never be the team that is in position to have the loss pinned on the team. You know what I mean? The 49ers never were going to lose that game because they were the underdog. They were the team, regardless of what the spreads were saying, they were playing with a backup quarterback. So, in my mind, the Eagles are super desperate. They are on the road. They're against a backup quarterback. We would have absolutely killed the Eagles if they let Nick Mullins torch them, right? Is that fair to say?
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
Oh, yeah. And I think that goes into the category of them winning where they did their preparation well enough. They knew that as long as they could just hold on, if they could get themselves into obvious passing situations, they could make him make mistakes. He coughed up points to McLeod with the first interception. The pick six is obviously, the dagger in the nail in the coffin for the 49ers in that game. So I think the Eagles did a good job, especially defensively, in terms of figuring out a game plan. Like, it's a classic Eagles game plan. You let one guy put up enormous numbers against you. Don't let him score touchdowns as often as you can. Get some turnovers off the defensive line pressure. Somehow it worked again. Thankfully, it's a tight end who can only torch us for 15 to 20 yards at a time, as opposed to a receiver who can go over the top.
Still put up 183.
He still put up 180, but there's a difference between going for 180 on 5 catches than there is 180 on 15.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'll say this: I thought the Eagles' defense did their job in terms of being prepared and coming out and looking like they were prepared. And I think the Eagles' defense primarily won them this game compared to the offense.
I want to agree with you. I do.
Then do it.
I can't.
Okay, then don't. I don't want you to agree with me anyway.
You stop that. I see. There are 2 reasons I listed before: the blown 2-point conversion by Nick Mullins, obvious backup quarterback move. Obviously, like I said, the whole roster that went to the championship or went to the Super Bowl was on IR. But what you just said, the classic Eagles game plan, I don't know how I feel about that, because the looking at the numbers today, there was something like 28 passes, like 26 runs, something like that. But what that doesn't show you is that probably about 7 to 9 of those runs were designed pass plays that were blown up and Wentz had to scramble, including that scramble for the touchdown. So I'm not sold. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. If you sat me down with a salesman with a silver tongue, you might be able to get me to buy in.
Sell me this Eagles win.
Yeah, sell me this Eagles win right here, the viewers. Sell me this Eagles win, because I can't believe it. You know what I mean? Like we said, Miles Sanders limited to 3 yards per carry. Travis Fulgham is out here.
Who?
I want to believe in Wentz. I want to believe he's not just a game manager, because Josh, what was his final line?
193, 1 touchdown, 1 pick.
That screams Case Keenum to me.
That screams Mike Glennon to me.
No, Mike Glennon
no.
wouldn't get to 190
No,
yards.
that's just Wentz is not supposed to be a game manager. If Carson Wentz ever turns into a full-time game manager, there are bigger issues, and I needs to be.
I wouldn't call him a game manager though for last night. I think that offense was. I don't want to say as explosive as it could have been with the given personnel, but the fact that Ertz was not by fault of his own. The 49ers gave him they gave him more attention than a newborn
dude,
child.
the 49ers are a hell of a zone defense team. The way those safeties switch in the middle of the field, there's only a couple teams that do it like that.
I think it says a lot that Carson did more than being a game manager when the only 2 targets that he has rapport with combined for 8 catches, which admittedly is a lot. But for literally less than 25 total yards, less than
Greg
40
Ward was
total
non-existent.
yards. Exactly, he made it happen with the guys that he doesn't know, and I don't think it's fair to any quarterback to expect them to put up Madden numbers when they're in that kind of environment. So that's kind of why I'm thinking.
I don't know if I'm expecting Madden numbers. I'm expecting more than 17 points from an offense.
Could he have been better? Yes, but I'm not going to put him at the game manager.
But that's the thing. I think I'm separating the two because I think, like I posed the question to Josh, Carson Wentz definitely won this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think the Eagles are a low ceiling offense right now, and I think
That's you lost Goddard. You're seeing
especially
option,
in that game, a road game against a good defense. You can't reasonably expect the Eagles, especially with how they've looked. If they had looked like the Chiefs or the Ravens or hell, even the Cowboys level of offense good in the first 3 weeks, then you could be like, what the hell was that performance last night? I don't care who we're playing against. The offense has been so good, I expect more. But the fact that was probably their best offensive game of the season, like I said, there's still a lot of kinks that need to be worked out. But I don't think it's fair to put Wentz give Wentz the game manager labels after last night.
Well, I'm not. I'm saying if he gets there, we have a problem, and that's a
what I'm saying.
very, very Case Keenum line, which is weird. So
But
what I'll
Case
say,
Keenum could have done more with his situation, but like Case Keenum, I'm assuming you're thinking about it in the Vikings terms.
I'm just saying I'm throwing backup quarterback. That was the first one that came to my mind.
Well, we all know that. But I'm just saying in general, I'm not going to even sniff the thought of being like, hey, is Carson Wentz regressing to being just like a check down quarterback all the time? Because that's not even in his DNA.
It's not.
I think
he can't throw the check downs.
He's out of the league before he is Alex Smith pre-Andy Reid.
Agreed. We agree.
You know what I mean? So I don't think he'll ever be at that point. So I think for him to get the game manager label, I don't even know what would need to happen.
Yeah.
Well,
honestly,
I'm not labeling him as a game manager, but I'm saying last night's performance was the performance of someone who does have a game manager label, in my opinion.
I'm going to disagree with that too, because it's not like he's nursing a lead all game. It's not like he gets to just hand the ball off for for 40 minutes of the game because they're up 17 points, multiple scores, or whatever it is. He like I'm going to keep repeating. He was not perfect. He certainly has room for improvement still. Doug still has room for improvement in terms of what the offense is doing. But given the fact that Carson Wentz led us to a road victory over what was a dominant elite defense last year, regardless of their current injuries, without the use of Zach Ertz, is an impressive win to me, regardless of how you're going to slice it otherwise.
That's fair. And I think, you know what, my last point on it will be, I don't think I can call it, I think I would label it a 49ers loss simply by the fact that C.J. Beathard in the final minute, C.J. Beathard in the final minute with a chance to win the game and everybody's hanging on by a thread, whole cardiac kids moment, can't be a full-out win for me. I don't know why.
Fair. I'm totally not going to disagree with that.
That would be my only thing to kind of ruin that. You know what? We dove into it right there with the reasons why. So this one should be relatively quick. But gentlemen, Max, I'm going to come to you first. Are you back on the Wentz wagon? Is this all aboard? Are we back? Choo-choo?
I'll say that I WD-40'd up and fully polished the back right wheel.
I like that.
That's as far as I'm going right now, but that back right wheel is looking real promising.
Wait, did all the wheels fall off and we're...
I don't know.
Okay.
I'll leave that up to you to decide, but what I'm saying is that the back right wheel is currently fit for an F1 racetrack.
Well, I'll leave it up to myself to decide that all the wheels fell off.
Okay.
And I know,
disagree.
And I know something, you're not winning any F1 races with the right back wheel. And that's actually, you kind of nailed it. The right back wheel is back on, and to me, that's not anywhere near good enough to my standards. I feel like the fact that we're pulling all these positives, and yes, I did say it, Wentz won last night, but what I was trying to get at with calling him a game manager is saying that there's this new standard that's set up for Wentz that's so much lower than it's ever been in his whole career before. Last year and the year before, we're talking top 5 quarterback. Now we're saying 193 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception is his best game of the year. And
that's a fact, unfortunately.
It is a fact.
I wish it wasn't the truth, but
it is the truth. But I'm saying and you are so right. This is just so hard because we're always playing the game with the Eagles. This guy's out, this guy's out, this guy's out. Oh, Wentz, he's got no one to work with. But you just said it. Either do the 49ers defense. And yeah, the guys still have to catch the balls. I am not on the Wentz wagon at all. I need to see him do it next week against the Steelers. And I think...
I mean, you're not doing yourself any favors
for
wishing for that against the Steelers.
If he can do it against the Ravens, because the Ravens are a much more pass-funnely, and let's be honest, straight up, the Ravens defense just isn't as good as the Steelers.
So I'd lump the next 2 games to make my real assessment. But that last game last night, I give him credit. I'm not calling for his head, but I certainly don't have faith in him.
But before we move on, I have to float this theory.
Oh.
Do we think that Carson Wentz is just better when he has nobodies to throw to?
I didn't put on my tinfoil hat.
I didn't want to give you a chance.
Yeah.
But seriously,
no, he definitely
100%.
is. Dude, last year, I don't agree with the top 5 quarterback last year, but yeah, exactly. Yeah, pass that around. He showed last year he's way better than a supporting cast because for over 4,000 yards with no receiver over 500, that old stat that gets tossed around all the time. You're right, which is why I was never off the Wentz wagon. I will say we got separated from the caravan. My wagon is a couple miles behind on the Oregon Trail.
Okay.
I was never off because I love the guy's arm talent. I love everything about him. I'm a little worried about how he takes to coaching. He cannot grasp RPOs for whatever reason. I still don't understand that because his skill set is pretty much made for RPOs.
The Wonderlic test.
I'm not going down that rabbit hole. We're not doing this whole combine thing again. I was never off, but like I said, we're moving along the Oregon Trail. We don't have any of that dysentery. We didn't catch like the rattlesnake bites or anything, but we are not with the rest of the caravan.
Tonight. Deep in the bag.
Yeah, well, hey, you can't tell me you didn't play Oregon Trail on the IMAX.
Of course. Best game to play in second grade.
Oh my God, in second grade! I was playing that all the way up to middle school. But we're gonna
say that was a
I mean, that's my most fond memory of it is that my old elementary school, the elementary school I was in second grade, that was like whenever we had free time for computers. Like if you were like one of the first 5 people done assignments, you could get on the computers.
Some Oregon Trail.
And Oregon Trail and I don't remember the other one.
The other one, never mind. We're not going to go down.
Yeah, we're not going to do that.
We're not going to do that.
Bad radio.
Yeah. So the question, Eagles win or 49ers loss, again leads us into this last one. And Max, I heard you say it off camera.
No.
I'm going to let you jump into it. So I'm going to pose you the question. But Josh, I'm going to come to you first. First in the NFC East or first in the NFC least. What does that really mean? Are the Birds supposed to go all in for this NFC East title and in turn make the playoffs and see what they can do? Or do we keep our eyes on the future? So how much does this first place really mean to you?
I've only been on the show for 2 or 3 weeks. I feel like you can already know what I'm going to say.
Yes.
And it's that the NFC East means nothing this season.
Okay.
I expect the total opposite.
I saw that one coming.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I saw that one coming.
I think that this roster that they have now is so incomplete. And the fact that winning the NFC East this season would be like a cause for celebration and give the Eagles the thought that they're doing something right. And I don't think they are. Like,
we've had this conversation
that's
before.
what I'm saying.
It's crazy that they keep lucking into these situations.
Oh my God, dude, this just screams like pick number 17 or 18 that they're going to miss.
They won't be able to finish that high, regardless. They'll finish 13th because they'll be the best second place.
Well, they're going to be above both the wild cards. So now you're dead in the middle of the pack. You're not reaching the 20s. So it's like, oh my God,
all the playoff teams will finish ahead of them. All of them. The way the NFL draft is, all the non-playoff teams in record order, and then so if they don't win the NFC East, they're not making the playoffs.
So then the wild cards will sit anywhere from the 13 to 15 range. So then the division winners with the lower records are anywhere from like the 17 to 20 range, right? Or is my math wrong? I'm not good at math.
You're a little off, but you're generally in the area.
yeah.
If there's 7 teams from each conference that are going to make the playoffs this year, that gives you the last 14 spots.
picks.
So
Yeah, okay.
1 through 18 are your non-playoff teams.
Yeah, okay.
19 through 32 are your playoff teams.
Yeah, so I was a couple.
So I'm saying if the Eagles don't win the division, I mean, they suck, so they'll probably not get that many wins. But the fact that they play even suckier teams in WFT and the Giants means that if
That's what I was
I'm trying to be, I'm trying to do it
Just
right.
call them the football
I'm trying
team.
to do it right.
Keep
It's
going.
too long. Football team.
I know.
Everyone's the football team. Damn it. WFT and the Giants. So if they end up in that terrible spot where they finish like 6-9-1, that's going to be not nearly good enough for a top 10 pick, and it's going to land you right in that terrible spot of probably like 11 or 12 or 13. But you know. You're not here, so I love that you just reiterate all the things that I said when the last Eagles season ended.
Yep.
The fact that they luck into these situations where they just sleepwalk and la-di-da, we're 4-8. Oh my God, it's December 1st, we're 4-8. Shit, we should probably start trying to win. And that's literally exactly what happened last year. Somehow they go from 4-8, prime position for maybe a decent draft pick, to 8-8. We lose in the wild card round, and what do we pick? 18th, something like that, right? So. That's the course this organization has shown that they're willing to take. And I'll reiterate this. If the Eagles somehow win the NFC East this year, it is absolutely going to be mostly due to the fact the Cowboys are perpetual underachievers.
Yep.
But if the Eagles can somehow manage to win the NFC East this year, that will absolutely be another testament to Doug and how he can somehow find a way to keep this roster moving and glued together with all the turnover that they face year in and year out. And that's why I said that I will refuse to give up on this guy as a coach until he just really, really falls off the rails. I know we are still 3/4 of a season away from the answer to that question, but I think we all know that as of this moment in time, the Eagles are going to be aiming for first in the NFC East.
Of course.
It doesn't matter if you were 6-9-1 to get there. If that is within reach, they are going to be playing Wentz and Sanders and Ertz 95+% of snaps in every single game. And until that stops happening, that's when you know the Eagles have given up on the season. I don't see that happening anytime soon, though.
No,
I don't see that ever happening, in all honesty.
If they shock us all and they go 10-5-1 and win the NFC East, well then that's awesome. But
there's no way that's happening.
There's
Because
no
that would
way that's
require them to
happening.
beat both the Ravens and Steelers in the next 2 weeks.
and sweep the
And
division.
I mean, I'll say
I
this.
think they can.
I'll say this now, and we can clip this. If somehow the Eagles go 2-0 in the next 2 weeks, I am in here that next Monday. I will be full face painted green. I'll find a way to get the flapping Eagles hat too and everything. I will be full
Go
out.
full Monty G.
I will be full. Yeah, the Monty G. I will do the Monty G hat. I'll find a way. I will be full out guy who is on the Fox broadcast because he's decked out in gear on the show. That's how confident I am that they're probably not going to win both of these games. Anyway, going back to the original point, this season we're going to take a lot out of these next 2 games. I think it's fair to say, right? Like last night gave this team some life, right? Without it, they're as dead in the water as you probably can be. But, if they go out and they get dominated the next 2 games, what is going to keep me, attached to the thought that they can be relevant or make noise?
I know what can. It's the schedule makers they're cruel people.
They are.
Because
Yeah, they're awful.
Because we got Steelers on Sunday in Heinz Field, right?
Yeah, it's in Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
not
I think
that
Steelers is away and the
Yeah.
Ravens are home.
not that all of that matters a ton, but anyways, you got the Ravens coming here, and then you turn around after the shellacking we're gonna get from Lamar and the Ravens. You turn around 4 days and Thursday night you're playing Danny Dimes. That's
Yeah.
what's gonna have you drinking the Howie Roseman Kool-Aid right over again.
Whoa. I'll say this: if I'm showering in Kool-Aid if the Eagles are 2-0 going into a Thursday night game against.
I'm saying the win against the Giants when
No,
they
no.
No,
please.
Max won't fall victim to
I'm
that.
not saying you. I'm
maybe
saying
some of
the
your
Eagles
friends,
fan.
Maybe some of your boys that from back home or whatever. No way if the Eagles are, if they're kicking dolls for the next 2 weeks. The Giants win is not going to do anything besides give me the littlest hit of mental dopamine on Thursday before bed. I'll
You're
go to
right.
bed thinking, oh, Daniel Jones fumbled 3 times tonight. The Eagles are 2-7-1.
It's the people on Twitter today who are celebrating that we're in first place and making all those first place memes, and I hate to be the
I'm
negative
with it.
guy.
Why not? Embrace it
I'm
while it
with
lasts.
it.
Embrace it while it lasts.
I'm embracing while it lasts too, but I am looking at the impending doom and the fact that this team shouldn't be celebrating the first place because it's drinking the Howie Roseman Kool-Aid where this is an acceptable team. This is an acceptable way to construct a football team year in, year out
Man.
and forget about linebackers and piecemeal. Oh no, this is our
throwing
guy in the
back
first
in.
Hey,
round.
man, in the words of a rookie safety and a second-year running back, if you ain't with us now, don't be with us. Which, by the way, guys, maybe don't do that in Philadelphia of all cities when you haven't been here for more than 2 years.
At least
But
Jalen Rager deleted his tweet.
I didn't even know that was a thing, but that's equally
I'm with it, dude.
hilarious.
Players don't owe us shit in terms of how they communicate with us or anything. I'm totally fine with that, just for the record.
Interesting, but that's
It's like
another-
Marquez Valdez-Scantling literally tweeting today, please stop
That
DMing
was
me
such
about
a-
your fantasy football teams. I do not care.
Right.
Like
That-
these are humans. It doesn't matter that they're
I would separate the two. I would say fantasy football is in no way
Yeah,
like
fantasy football is
that's-
totally different.
That's a joke.
I mean, fantasy football is like so not even a debate. But I understand that this is not like a clear-cut thing, like DMing people about fantasy football.
Right.
Personally, you can respond to the fan base however you want. You just got to know that you do have that right to say whatever you want to us as a fan base. But if that kind of knocks you down in the loving order and
you better be able to take it.
yeah, exactly.
Right.
You got to understand that that is a possible ramification.
I'm with
Granted, I will say that the two guys that came out and said those things are pretty endeared to the fan base given their time here already.
Yep.
So they can maybe get away with it. But just as a general principle, say whatever you want, just know the ramifications.
Interesting. All right, I'm with it. So we talked about a winner this week in the Eagles. This is all our weekly segment, winners
Yes.
and losers, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
I got a winner.
All right,
I'm ready
Max.
to
All right, we'll go around with the winners. Max, you start.
My winner this week is NFL fans because when we thought that light at the end of the tunnel had closed up and we thought the season was dead and buried and gone,
You believe that?
we found a way to only have one postponement of games. We got the Patriots-Chiefs kicking right now, and I think we can safely say that this is the NFL equivalent of what the Marlins and Cardinals experienced earlier on in the
don't even
season.
get me
Maybe
started.
even to a lesser extent. And seeing how this week all played out gives me no hesitation that the rest of this NFL season will go on as scheduled. It will finish, and I feel like to me personally, this week was the final decision on that
dig
debate
it.
in my head.
I dig. I love 2 games on Monday.
I'm with it.
By the way.
I kind of wish they would do it all the time, but like on the other hand, a game starting at 7, it's just not NFL. NFL
It's not.
primetime,
I agree.
NFL primetime starting at 7 it just doesn't do it justice.
Just like Thursday, though, we'd get used to it.
Yeah, we would.
We would get used
We
to
would.
it. Josh, winner.
Well, I'm not gonna lie, Max just stole my winner of the week
Oh,
right
really?
there.
Oh.
So I'm gonna have to go for a low-hanging fruit here, but
Just do it.
I love him. Josh Allen, MVP believers, baby.
False. Erroneous.
Right there, you're getting one of these.
and
We're
that's
gonna
Erroneous
put
why,
on
one of
both
that's
these.
why I
accounts.
went for it. 'cause I
Erroneous
knew.
on both accounts.
No way. He's the real deal. And you know what? I want to relate it back to Carson Wentz just a little bit. Look what happens when you give a quarterback a real NFL star wide receiver. Look at how good he's
fact.
doing with Stephon Diggs. And I'm sorry, both of these comments are at your expense,
Whatever, dude.
Jim.
I'll take Justin Jefferson.
Hey, Justin Jefferson's decent. He's no Stephon Diggs. Josh Allen.
I hate you, Max. Get the fuck out of here.
That's good.
Josh
Whatever.
Allen's the real deal. He's a real quarterback. Screw it. MVP, Josh Allen.
Erroneous. Russell Wilson has
course.
been the MVP of this league, with the exception of Lamar and Patrick Mahomes since he entered the league. But my winner is going to be Kevin Stefanski and the Cleveland Browns.
Good call.
That was an
Great
impressive
winner.
win.
It was.
This team actually feels like, and I'll tell you what, that's the best running back duo in the league. Because Chubb went on IR, which sucks.
No,
And-
I
okay,
wasn't.
okay.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
Right,
I'm
right.
saying they were the best running back doing the
Well,
league.
yeah.
Not for the next 6 weeks. They're not.
Exactly. Yeah, and my fantasy team took a huge hit with Chubb going out. But to not miss a beat with Kareem Hunt, he was the understudy of Gary Kubiak. He basically ripped off his system, get the play action going for Baker. And I'll tell you what, man, they looked good. The defense is actually looking better than everybody thought it would be. So good for the Cleveland Browns, man. Like that's huge. Like
That was the first time they're 3-1 since 2001.
dude, could we actually be saying and mean it this time that Cleveland is not a terrible football team?
No, I think they have. I don't want to take too much time on this, but the Browns have a good game plan that they stick to.
Yeah.
Kevin Stefanski is like, I'm going to run the ball as much as possible. 2 tight ends, 2 receivers on most plays, And that works so
And it
well
worked,
for them.
yeah.
It works so well for them.
Yeah, 12 personnel and just run it. And the offensive line's better, and I gave it credit for it.
Let's just say there's a reason that Odell Beckham scored on 2 different trick plays last week.
Yeah, dude. I'll give Stefanski credit. He studied.
He took the best from Kitchens. Whatever good there was left from Kitchens and last year.
And Kitchens took all the movement plays from Andy Reid. You know what I mean? Like those trick plays are straight from Andy Reid, straight from Kyle Shanahan, like all these guys who study that motion before the like pre-snap reads and everything like that. So I'll give them all the credit in the world. Go Browns. Max, losers.
My losers are going to be people who still think the Eagles should trade for Nick Foles. Because
There are those people?
if you are no, there are. You know
That's
there
the
are.
thing.
You both know for a fact. I know both of you are on social media enough to know that there are still people who are dead serious in every single goddamn comment section out there that still say stuff about Nick Foles.
I was under the impression there were still the people that's like think that the Eagles should have like stuck with Foles. I didn't know people were actually saying trade him.
I mean, and people who think that the Eagles should have Nick Foles as their starting quarterback currently, whether that's keep him or bring him back.
Yeah.
Maybe that's an easy way to put it. I hope for your sakes that you guys weren't watching Red Zone and weren't subjugated to the afternoon slate. But that
was so
that
bad.
Bears-Colts game was brutal, and unsurprisingly, a guy who has never really flourished as a starter in the last 5 years, once again did not flourish as a starter against a defense that is kind of lacking star power but is very solid in fundamentals. So, I will never ever hate on Nick Foles for what he did. I will always understand the irrational attachment that some people have to him. But you can't be claiming that you're a smart football fan and be claiming that Nick Foles should be the Eagles starting quarterback. I don't really know how else to put it at this point.
There are some quarterbacks that are just elite, like the Russ, the Mahomes, the Lamars. They'll always play well. Mm-hmm. And then there's every other quarterback that needs a circumstance to play well, like the play action guys, Garoppolo, Cousins, all those guys that are dependent on one thing. Nick Foles' one thing is for a team to be in a bad spot and him to not start the game. That is his, he cannot start the game.
Crazy how true that is.
And they need to be in a bad way.
Trubisky just stare down a safety on the first drive of every game and throw a pick to him and bench him.
Yeah, exactly. And then put him in.
The hardwiring in Nick Foles' brain is like, oh my God, my time to shine.
Me.
Let's do it. And there you go.
That's his one thing. I don't get it. Josh, loser.
My loser of the week is going to be C.J. Beathard.
Beat hard.
Oof.
Because
Beat hard. Get out of here.
He's so much better if that was his last
Get
name.
out of here, too.
and especially after the first time the Eagles played against him a couple years ago.
Yeah.
But my loser of the week is C.J. Beathard because if he started that game, he would have been the winner of the week, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I know that it was the Jim Schwartz picket defense, as we call it, where they just let him take whatever he wants. He was really taking whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
And I just felt I couldn't help. I mean, after I was rooting for the game, but once the game marinates in my mind, I was like, damn, poor C.J. Beathard. He waits around all year for his one opportunity. Jimmy Garoppolo goes out. He's thinking this is his opportunity. Doesn't get it. Comes in the game. What did he incomplete? One pass? He missed one pass?
It was 2 on that last drive, when there
and
was 30 seconds left. But
Okay.
that last drive was impressive.
I just mean, it was more than impressive. He looked lights out there. He's my loser of the week because it brings me back to did the 49ers lose? Did the Eagles win? I still say the Eagles win, but if Beathard had started that game,
Yeah.
we're having a completely different conversation.
And I guess for my loser, boys, I got a question for you, and I think you're both going to like it.
Okay.
How about them Cowboys?
Yes, sir. Someone had to say it.
How about them Cowboys?
Wow.
I told you all that I would live and die on this hill, that Mike McCarthy is not even a mediocre head coach. I don't think I have to prove it anymore because, like you said, Max, they are a perennial underachieving team, but I didn't even think to let up 49 points to the Browns, and granted, I just praised the Browns, but let's think about who we're talking about here. Mike McCarthy is a very bad head coach. It is what it is, man. So Cowboys, take that L and run back to Jerry World, man.
One more extra loser of the week.
Yeah.
The internet has absolutely Shaq dunked all over Bill O'Brien today, deservedly so.
Oh, dude. Bob out. Maybe Deshaun Watson won't have to run for his life.
Well, there was confusion because Adam Schefter tweeted that the Texans had fired head coach Bill O'Brien and general manager Bill O'Brien.
Right.
I did not know clarification on offensive coordinator Bill O'Brien. Is he
that
sticking
would be
around?
hilarious.
Is he still involved? Like, I gotta, Schefter, please, you gotta let us know, man.
Yeah, Schefter.
You would imagine, but
Man was three.
never
That man
know.
had three
jobs.
positions in an
I'm gonna say-
organization.
this will be the only nice thing about Bill O'Brien I'll literally ever say. But don't you think you're setting up a guy for failure if you're making him do 3 different jobs at an NFL organization?
Yeah, hey, dude, Penn State churns out some whiz kids, though.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
satire.
That's all I want to say. 'Cause
That's-
everybody else don't go Bill O'Brien. It's
Those are our winners and losers of the week. Bob, yeah, you really lost that one. But we're moving into rapid fire. Rapid fire. We're going to start this one off with some news that, Max, I don't know how you feel about it yet. But
okay.
I actually, you know what? I know you called it, but I don't know how you feel about it.
Oh, okay. Right.
I know you called it, but I don't know how you feel about it. The Sixers hired Doc Rivers, baby.
Glenn, because there's only one Doc in Philadelphia.
I like that. We got Glenn Rivers as the new head coach of the Philadelphia 76ers. How are we feeling about this? And does this actually make the 76ers better? Like, are the 76ers better with Glenn Rivers as their head coach?
I'm going to have to say yes. Look,
Yeah.
I know the Clippers and Doc Rivers have been, before Bill O'Brien, they were probably the easiest sports group figure that has just been absolutely getting lit up on the internet over the past couple weeks.
Yep.
I think it's fair to say that the Clippers really owned the second half of September
Yeah,
slander,
yeah.
right? Deservedly so. Doc Rivers did catch a fair amount of slack, but there is no debating that Doc Rivers is one of the best coaches in the game's history, right?
Oh, yeah.
We're in on that?
At least currently, yeah.
At least currently, right? Out of your options.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think that's where I really want to go with this, because we've discussed this on air and off air. I hated all of the big name options for the
Yep.
Sixers this year. I don't think bringing in, I'm not going to talk about Tyronn Lue. We all know he stinks.
Yeah.
Really, it came down to, are the Sixers going to try to dig around for a guy with previous head coaching experience, or are they going to try and bring in one of these fresh new faces? Personally, I just didn't think it was the right idea to give the keys to a guy that is first head coaching gig when this franchise is in need of a leader. They don't need more talent or brain power. I mean, they do need brain power because they do some dumb shit, but this team has not had a leader. We have Jimmy Butler in the last couple of years. That was the closest thing to a real leader. Brett Brown, good guy, really good guy.
Hey, good guy.
Didn't hold people accountable enough to be the head leader of an NBA team that is hoping to compete for a title, right? And I think that no matter what Doc Rivers does in terms of X's or O, we know that he absolutely can get the most out of his players in terms of their on court, right? Clearly we saw that he had issues with locker room management. Apparently by the end of the season, everybody hates Paul George. Granted, that's a little bit different because I don't know if you guys know, but Paul George and the Rivers family, they got some deep ties in the background off court.
Yeah.
So I'm just not sure if it's totally fair to criticize a guy for mishandling that locker room when, let's be honest, you're kind of impartial to the guy in question because he's extended family. And B, the guy in question claims himself as a top 10 player and plays like he doesn't deserve to be on the floor for more than 18 minutes a game. Right? A lot of the shrapnel that Doc Rivers caught was directly a result of Paul George's mishaps and failures.
put up some
And to a lesser
clunkers.
extent, Kawhi Leonard as well. We kind of all just thought that Paul George and Kawhi would just carry the Clippers to at least the Western Conference Finals, right? And it didn't really matter at that point, right? Obviously the goal was championship or bust for them, but I don't think any of us really expected the Clippers to be out before the conference finals this year. And yes, part of that definitely should fall on Doc Rivers, but I don't think it's totally fair to kill him for everything that happened because he can't control what happens on the court. I do think that he will figure out the best way to play Embiid and Simmons and Embiid and Horford or whatever he has to do. He has proven that he can make lineups work within each other. So I'm excited overall. I think he was the best hire available. Do I think he's going to set the world on fire and change the game with the Sixers? Probably not. But do I feel much more confident in them hitting 50 wins and not blowing fourth quarter leads like their job? Yeah, I do. I really, honestly, legitimately do.
All right.
Yeah.
Josh.
I mean, we pretty much see eye to eye on this one. And
Yeah, start cutting me off, dude. I'm taking all your talking points.
No, but anyways, it's not Glenn Rivers' fault that Paul George did his best Markelle Fultz impression when it mattered the most.
Woof.
He did hit the side of the backboard. in
Yeah,
game
it's
7. That was
pretty bad.
That was pretty bad.
And I love the hiring. It's he's one of the best coaches that we've seen
I
in our
love the hire.
lifetime.
I really do. I really, really do.
I don't know him personally. Seems from all accounts like a good guy, well-spoken. And I don't think it does anything. I don't think it makes any
Really?
difference at all.
Okay.
Because I think this is such a bigger problem than the coach. I said it all the time. I will defend Brett Brown's tenure with the Sixers until I die.
Weird hill to die on. But
Yeah,
Well-
weird hill to die on.
His firing was necessary because he was talking to deaf ears. There's no doubt about that. But I don't think the problems were Brett Brown's fault. The problems were so much greater than that. The problems were you didn't construct a championship-winning roster. You contested. There were pretenders, not contenders, as we always said. And I think if you keep this roster the same and you keep the front office the same, which they will, it's not going to be a difference. And guess who's coming back this year? Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant. You have an entire new team in the East to contend with. I don't think that Doc Rivers is really going to make that much of a difference. I would love to be wrong here, but I think you have to go out and you got to get some players. You got to change the front office, and I don't see the front office changing at this point at all. I don't see Doc Rivers making a big difference. He's slapping a Band-Aid on a fall from a building or something like that. I mean,
Yeesh.
Yeah.
What I'll say is I think I'm going to reserve judgment on the Sixers being better. What I will say is I think Tobias Harris is better with Glenn Rivers as the coach, mainly because he'll actually call a pick and roll play for once in literally 7 years. Tobias Harris did some of his best work under Glenn Rivers. So I think Tobias Harris will be better. What I'm not sure about is the Sixers overall, because let's be honest, I mean, Doc's only made it out of the second round of the playoffs, was it once in the last 9 years? Championship was 12 years ago, so it's hard for me to
I'm
say.
honestly say there's not reservations about him.
Right.
Absolutely.
No, and you're right. This was the best hire. This is 10 times better for me than any of those other names that were out there.
I totally agree. And that's all you can ask for. You can't just...
Right.
I feel like, especially in the last decade, across all sports, people are just so enamored with the idea of their franchise hiring a guy out of nowhere that changes the way that we view the game of how it's being played. Like
Chip Kelly.
that's the example on one side, but it people are just oh my God, this guy isn't going to come in and win 65 games in the first year. I don't like, but that's not how it works.
No.
Doc Rivers to me was unequivocally the best hire you could have made given
Easily.
the circumstances. And I will say this: I will give the front office credit because they saw him come available and they immediately shifted their attention away from everyone else, and they did not let another team.
Was it 3
get
days?
less, I think.
Yeah.
He was on the plane to meet with ownership the day after he got fired. The contract offer comes within the next day or two. So I have to give the front office credit for immediately recognizing that he was a clear tier above everyone else available and not letting another team get the opportunity to snatch them away.
What
So
I think is he fit into a window for, I won't speak about Ben Simmons, although I will say I think Doc Rivers is the one coaching candidate out there that could possibly be that ear that Brett Brown could not be to Ben Simmons. I think Doc hit a perfect window for Joel Embiid.
Yeah,
Becoming
I'm
a
totally
father?
with it. Totally with it.
Already opened that window for you. And then coming in, Doc has always made his big men effective. Good. He's always made his big men good. That's what it is. So him coming in, being a guy who is all about accountability in that locker room is huge because we all know Brett Brown wasn't. And also Joel becoming a father. I think we could see a real
You're all in
change.
on the father mentality. Buff?
I think I am. Like,
Okay. I'm with it.
I like it too.
The track record of people becoming fathers and making.
Carson.
As
It
I
just
say
sucks
that,
because
I
he
thought
didn't do
about
it in the
Wentz.
playoffs and didn't become Fred Van Vliet. You know what I mean? Like, not to be rude to Joel
That
Embiid.
just blew. I would become
Saying, come on,
Fred
you
Van
couldn't have
Vliet.
timed this a little bit better for a playoff run or something.
That was wild, dude.
I want to touch on one thing about the Doc Rivers thing. And it's the biggest thing that makes me hesitant to say he's going to make a real difference because it's what you said. That I see everyone else saying the Tobias Harris thing. Tobias was the best when Doc was coaching him. But I got to say, look at Tobias Harris' surrounding cast when he was on the Clippers.
He took a lot of shots, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, he had Lou Williams. He was a volume shooter on the Clippers, and it worked. But volume shooters and like Tobias Harris on the Clippers, like from then, is a completely different Tobias Harris on this Sixers team with that surrounding cast.
I'm not gonna fully agree or disagree. I think it's just really as simple as Doc Rivers is. Like Brett Brown, he's just better off. Like he's just a better coach than Brett Brown. Like,
Yeah, I
like
can't
just
disagree
like
with
just
that.
straight up. Like I'm willing to I'm willing to put my trust in a guy that over really the last 20 years has been a perpetual playoff maker. Yes, he has not hit the promised land as often as he's making the playoffs, especially with the last 8 years. I mean, yeah, the West has been an absolute bloodbath. You have 7 seeds your 7 seeds have 52 wins in the West, and in some of the years past. That's not normal. That's not typical. That's not standard. You have to, his literally direct in-state rival was the greatest dynasty of the modern era. Those Clippers teams are going to be the footnote to the Warriors dynasty, but it's not like he was getting bumped by the Jazz in the first round and lost in the second round to the team that lost in the finals to the team that lost in the conference, in the NBA finals. So I will stick with loving the Glenn Rivers, Doc Rivers hire until it blows up in my face. But thankfully, the NBA is not going to start for at least a handful of months, so I can brush my hands clean and just full steam ahead till then.
Love it. Well, hey, guys. One man goes in, another man goes out.
Bye-bye.
And by that, I mean Matt Klentak.
Well, he didn't even leave yet.
Dude, stop. Just let me have this one.
sorry.
All right? Let me have this one.
Me too,
okay?
man.
Matt Klentak agreed to step down as his position from his position as the GM of the Philadelphia Phillies, and I don't think I got any better news than that last week. I think that was like 1A or 1B for me at least. I think I'll say Klentak got a little bit more heat than he deserved in terms of drafting, because the drafts have been sort of fruitful for the Phillies, but everything else that he has done, every other piece of criticism he has gotten, he has earned. So the things get better now, right?
Things get better, and I don't feel bad at him at all. He was so dense and quite frankly morose with the fans all year. Just seemed very dismissive. We know we need to sign JT. Okay, well you need to sign him months ago. Honestly, good riddance. I don't got much else to say. Seriously, he did nothing in terms of building a roster that was able to compete simply because he neglected the least sexy part of the roster for 3 years straight, and he did a bad job, and I don't really care that he's leaving. I have no.
Yeah.
I don't want to be rude, but I don't really have anything positive to say.
I'm not looking.
He was the GM when we signed Bryce Harper, and that's it.
I'm not looking for positive.
Yeah.
Pile on.
Yeah. No, you know what I would say? Too little too late. I'd say this should have been done a year ago.
You're right.
Because maybe this team would have made the playoffs in this Mickey Mouse 8-team playoff system, which they couldn't even do that because he's so bad at constructing, as you said, the least sexiest part of the team. But I want to see more be done, because do they still have the same scouts that have been getting these 90-mile-per-hour bullpen pitchers? Who's finding these guys and saying these are fit to?
These are the guys.
These are the guys that are going to get their job done. And yeah, it's a start. But at the bottom line, you still have John Middleton, who said, I don't remember the exact quote, but it was something like, "It's not my job to find the reliever who's going to get paid $1 million. I got Bryce Harper."
He's right.
I mean, he's right, but also it's clear that the focus is very shifted. It's very shifted on the names.
Right. It's your job to find a GM to go get that reliever.
Exactly. And it just seems like a broken system, and I hope we're not wasting Bryce Harper's career here, because
we've already wasted a couple of years. But me personally, I don't think anything's going to change until McPhail's done. And then Middleton coming out and saying Andy McPhail is taking on more roles or more responsibility in the baseball operations terrifies me, mainly because the dude.
I'll give you a slimmer hope. Maybe Klentak was just the overpowering voice in the room.
Well, that's what it was. McPhail had nothing, pretty much nothing to do with baseball ops.
I know I can hear the sadness in your voice by saying.
Dude, he came from the Orioles. You're not going to be able to talk me out of this one.
Well,
you could try, but you're not.
No, I got a really good one for you.
Oh, put me in the spin cycle then.
The Orioles have a ton of experience drafting because they suck so bad. They have a great opportunity to draft all the time.
What have they done with it?
Yeah,
I'm just saying you're better at drafting. You're better at drafting
Trial
than
and
you're
error.
to put it. Come on,
Is that
dude.
what you're saying? Trial and error?
I'm trying to help you out here. Why do you want to question me on everything?
That's what I do. I'm a questioner. I'm inquisitive.
You're naturally going to be better at something if you have to do it more times than someone else.
I think that's just inherently not true.
Whatever. It sounds right.
It sounds good.
The more you draft, the more draft picks you make, the better you'll get at them.
Practice should
What
make
about
perfect.
Howie? What about Howie? He's drafted a ton.
Yeah, practice
It's
should
different
make
sport.
perfect.
Doesn't count.
Oh, okay, but that doesn't apply to that one.
Oh,
Doesn't
disqualifier.
count. Different for every sport.
Disqualifier, huh? Oh my goodness. All right, so hey Josh, we brought us right back to the birds.
Oh yeah.
And we're gonna end off. Last question, rapid fire. We buying or selling?
Wait,
Are we-
buy or selling as in buying this team, like buying as in assets, like players?
Give me both. Give me both. Give me both. The original one. Start with. Are we being buyers or sellers
Being
in this
buyers or
season?
sellers.
Yes. Like what are we doing? And I guess this kind of latches back into the full balls to the wall, like owning this NFC East first place right now. But are we buying or are we selling?
I mean, I have to imagine we're going to be buyers. It might not make sense. It might not make sense, honestly. But
You're right.
You got a guy sitting across from you that proposed the Zach Ertz trade on his first week on the show.
That made a trade for Golden Tate for like nothing. You know what I mean? Like this is
Second round
that front
pick.
office actively looks to improve whenever they can.
Wasn't that a second round pick for Golden Tate?
Probably.
No, fourth.
Third. I want to say third.
Maybe
Even
fourth
still.
conditional.
Yeah.
Actually,
Even
you know what?
still-
I don't know why I'm dogging that because they don't do anything with mid-round picks
That's a
anyway.
thing.
So I don't know. I'm going to say we're buyers at the deadline, and I'll just I'll sell them.
Dude, I'm sorry. I don't.
I'll sell them the team. I
Yeah.
don't want to say it, but
Really?
suck, dude, they suck.
I have no problem
You're
saying
making me
it.
be objective on camera. They suck. They objectively stink.
Wow. I didn't bring you here to be objective.
Well, I'm being objective. I
Wow,
always
alright.
try to be objective, and objectively, I have to say that they're not a good enough team for me to think that they have any chance to make noise. Like I can't even see their ceiling higher right now than like their absolute ceiling is winning the division and getting handled. Like that's the absolute best case scenario for this team that I see right now. And then inherently, that would be a terrible outcome for this year as a whole.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Josh.
I am selling. I have no problem saying it. I mean, I'm an Eagles
Make a
fan,
deal.
of course, but I have no problem. What does this mean? What does that
I'm
mean?
mocking you. You're so high and mighty. I have no problem selling it.
Of course. I have no problem selling this team because I know. Look, it's Sam Hinkie's fault. Sam Hinkie ingrained this into me. Always have the longest view in the room. You need to be thinking 4 years ahead before you're thinking about this year's NFC
That's why Sam
East.
Hinkie got fired, because people need to see results.
And hey, look at the team now. Look at the situation they're in now. Bet you wish you stuck with Sam Hinkie. Anyways, that's what I'm saying about this team. What? What's that look for, James?
That is a whole nother deep rabbit hole.
It's that Twitter gif of the no
Yeah,
correlation
that's,
one.
yeah, that's bait right there. that's bait.
Look, they need to Howie Roseman, do the right thing here. And don't pat yourself on the back for winning the NFC East, okay? Build a team. Build a team for the future. And it's stocks, baby. Buy low, sell high. And they're as high as they might get all season, beating the former NFC champions in the 49ers.
One more time before the end of the
Former
show.
NFC champions,
He's not wrong.
49ers. Okay? So I'm saying, look, let's stop kidding ourselves. Let's sell as much as we can. And you said it, man. We know damn well this team's going to be buyers. And it's going to hurt so much. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt so much.
Hey, maybe they'll trade Hurts for a second-round pick.
And do what with it?
Just
Draft
to
another
have it
quarterback.
back. Do it over. Just to
Quarterback
go
factory,
do it over.
baby.
What?
I don't know. I would just like to have another second-round pick back. That's all.
Would you
I would like to
trade-
exchange that second-round pick for another.
Would you trade Zach Ertz for a wide receiver of Zach Ertz caliber?
That wouldn't-
Straight up?
That would literally never
Yeah, that's-
happen.
yeah.
But if it's on the table, hell, throw in the next available first-round pick. If we could get a receiver equivalent as someone as productive as Zach Ertz is at the tight end position, throw him a second or first.
It's
for
just
that
the way it
deal.
won't
I don't
happen
give a
because of
damn.
his contract and a whole litany of issues.
I
but like-
mean,
yeah, but you're right. If that's on the table, you pull that trigger.
Not even as good as I would rather trade Ertz for a serviceable wide receiver. Like not like a
T.Y. Hilton.
if you want to hear a hard,
I'd throw in a pick too for T.Y. Hilton.
You
hasn't
serious?
had more than 87 receiving yards since Andrew Luck retired.
Yeah,
Give him
you're
Carson Wentz.
serious about that. Zach Ertz and a pick for T.Y. Hilton?
Not a high pick, but if that's what it took, yes. I am, and I am very, very high on T.Y. Hilton because I've seen the Andrew Luck ceiling, and I've compared Carson Wentz to Andrew Luck a little bit before.
Okay. Seriously, did you pass that beforehand? Because that's some
Tough.
wild shit you're
Two-hit
smoking.
limit, please.
What?
That's
Two-hit
some
limit.
wild
1 year,
stuff, man.
one Zach Ertz rental for T.Y. Hilton?
You're not going to sell me on this one, boss.
What?
I don't want T.Y. Hilton.
You are not going to sell me on
want
that one, big guy. I mean, Golden Tate again.
T.Y. Hilton's better than Golden Tate. That's the thing. T.Y. Hilton's way better than Golden Tate. Is he not?
I think it's closer than you think.
I think
yeah,
T.Y.
I think
Hilton's
it's
way better
way
than
closer
Golden
than
Tate.
you think, man.
It's week 4.
And? What?
I'm saying
Huh?
T.Y. Hilton hasn't done too well.
Just get out of here. that's going to be it for rapid
I think
fire.
I would still take T.Y. Hilton for the Eagles, but I don't.
I'm going to go out of my way. I'm going to go out of my way to track T.Y. Hilton stats all year now.
Guess what? You don't have to learn higher than the number 87 until
Yeah.
Andrew Luck comes back for the Colts.
Go ahead
Good
and
for you.
waste your time. Keenan Allen?
Oh, that's
If that Super Bowl signed me way up.
I didn't
for
say it because I
Although-
didn't think they would do it. I don't think they would
I don't
do
think
it.
the Chargers would do it. I think if Tyrod didn't have his lung punctured and was still a quarterback, I think that's much more
Hey,
feasible.
Justin Herbert is out there airing it out.
Justin Herbert throws him 12-plus times a game. They literally can't trade him, or else he'll look like Josh Rosen.
Yeah, they don't use
No
Mike.
disrespect
They
to
don't
Josh
use Mike
Rosen, but-
Williams at all.
That's what he'd look like.
Yeah, they don't use Mike Williams at all, which is
He was hurt last week, but I literally think the Chargers are enamored with him. I don't think he's worth more than like a 6th-round pick, Mike Williams. He is a perpetual underachiever. He has one game a year where he'll go crazy.
Yeah.
And he'll have literally a quarter of his total yards for the year in one game and half of his touchdowns for the year in one game.
He is. Mike Williams was supposed to be what T. Higgins is.
I think that's
like
maybe a little early to go all the way there with T. Higgins, but I like where you're at.
I don't know, man. I like the way that kid plays ball.
like
Me
T. Higgins.
Me too, for sure.
I like the way that kid plays ball. But that's gonna be it for rapid fire. We're moving into tap outs. Gentlemen, who wants to tap us out?
I have one today.
Oh, Big Mac's coming out the gate swinging. Tap us out.
So I have to give a warning out there to everybody, I don't know, over the age of Zoomer. Whatever you consider the age of Zoomer, I have to give you a warning because this might make you a little mad.
Okay.
I am addicted to TikTok now.
Oh boy.
I downloaded it. I downloaded it before last show actually.
Oh boy.
I didn't realize how into it I was last Monday.
Oh my God.
This last week has really, really opened my eyes. It's awesome. I love that app. I will unashamedly admit that I have spent too much time on TikTok in the last 7 days. And if you know what, if that makes you mad, then you're wrong, not the kids. Tapping out.
Wow.
Oh boy. Okay.
Sealed endorsement for TikTok.
Yeah, I guess.
What do you mean you guess?
I'm not gonna do this.
Download it, give it 30 minutes, type in whatever you want, I guarantee you're hooked.
See, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of TikTok in and of itself, but banning apps to me is a slippery slope to a place where I don't want to be. So go ahead, Max. You enjoy your TikTok.
I'm going to. I'm
Josh,
absolutely going to. People are
tap
literally
us out.
geniuses what they can do with a cell phone. It's insane.
Well, a lot of them are edited.
Yeah, but TikTok. See, this is as someone who's a TikTok user. I didn't know this as a non-TikTok user. TikTok gives you all like the green screen tools and everything in the app.
Well, yeah, but people still like people chroma key it, but
I know people do that, but I'm
pull
saying-
it off and put it in.
I'm
the
saying
post.
you can do plenty enough to earn you the title of hilarious TikTok genius with nothing more than the app. And I think that's the beauty of it. It doesn't.
He's standing.
I am.
TikTok
I'm
right now.
absolutely on this hill. I always thought it was like Vine but longer, where it was like, okay, this
That's what
is
it is.
no. See, the thing is with,
That's what it is.
that's what I thought. The thing is with Vine, everything on Vine was so stupid because you can only condense it into 6 seconds. The thing is with TikTok, you can learn things. Like I'm learning recipes. I'm literally learning like DIY stuff in a minute in abbreviated screens. I wish I was kidding. I really wish I was up here just putting on an act. I am literally typing things in to TikTok for video guides on before I'm going to Google or YouTube, and that is not an exaggeration.
I don't know if I play. Okay.
I don't like it.
Josh?
I mean, I'm not gonna go on TikTok to learn how to build a house or anything.
But
you
don't
can
say that.
You
It
can
took a week for you to get to this point.
I'm just saying, give it a try.
Josh, what do you got?
I'm gonna have to get a second to recollect myself because I had one and I just now forgot it after Max talking about TikTok so much.
Yeah.
Because
I'm 8 months late to the party.
I am the Zoomer that he refers to, and I can't stand TikTok. I don't get it. It's
You're an old soul, Josh.
I'm an old soul. I don't think that I hate the extra inning rule. I don't like TikTok. This isn't for me. But
Monkey paw.
my tap out.
Yeah.
What is up with pizza in Philadelphia? I can't get a good slice.
Really?
I can't get a decent
Yeah, do you
slice.
still live near Temple?
Yeah.
That's why.
Jesus,
Well, that's
come
why.
on, dude.
Look, I'm
Hold
from
up.
Bucks County. Pizza's fine. There's nothing special about it.
I thought you were about to go hard
No.
opposite and be like, oh, you
Not
got to go
cut
to
you
Bucks
off, I'm
County.
from Bucks County as well, and the best pizza I've ever had in my life is in my hometown. Not exaggerating.
Where is it? Let's hear it.
Really?
Pizza Star in Levittown.
Pizza Star in Levittown. I'll have to make the trek.
Big
Never
shout out
been
to
there.
Pizza Star in Levittown.
Pizza Star, you hear that? Run us a check, baby.
Those guys, they are, sorry, I keep cutting you off. They're like a classic, like, scene in a 70s movie. The individual tiled words for the menu.
Sick.
Super faded pictures. It's the real deal.
Sick.
All right, back
Sorry,
to what
go
I was
ahead,
getting at
please.
here. I know I've complained a lot about everyone talking about Philly's fame, and I love cheesesteaks. But anytime there's a national television game, there's a shot of the cheesesteaks, we're talking about the cheesesteaks, we get it. The cheesesteaks are great. But honestly, thank God for the cheesesteaks. Because the pizza, I can't find a good slice. Wings, you can find some good wings around here. I can't find some good wings either. That's my tap out. Bagels also. I mean, I spent most of my life saying New York bagels, they're good. How good are they? Now I've been living in Philly like for real the last 2 or 3 years. The bagel scene, the pizza scene, the wing scene, it leaves a lot to be desired. Thank God for cheesesteaks. That's my tap out.
What's your go-to cheesesteak?
My go-to cheesesteak, place or order?
What?
Like,
Place,
where do I go
dude.
to get cheesesteaks?
Yeah, place, man. What order?
Well, D'Alessandro's is my go-to place for cheesesteaks. And I like whiz whiff. I thought you were like, are you a provolone guy?
Yeah.
I mean-
I gotta side with him on that one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That was not specific enough. You said, "What's your cheesesteak?" or whatever. You said.
Where do you what's
I
your
interpreted it as where do you go, but I
Yeah.
definitely could have seen it as
Well, I
what's your
mean,
order.
come on, dude. You got a couple options: whiz, American, provolone, and then with or without. You know what I mean?
Six-
I'm not.
there's like
Is anyone else a mood dependent for onions?
Yes.
No way.
No, huge. Yes, I'm with you.
Onions
Very,
are-
very mood
And also,
dependent.
there are some places that I specifically won't order onions from because they over.
I agree.
No
It's
such thing
I
as
have to
overload.
have had the onions
Absolutely
before.
there is.
I have to have had the onions before to know how they are.
Where do you guys? What are your spots?
Joe's on Gerard.
Joe's is a good one.
Joe's on Gerard straight up, or believe it or not, the deli at the downstairs of an apartment building on Spring Garden 22nd.
I was gonna say if I'm gonna choose a big name, probably be Ishka Bibbles is up there for me.
Really?
Can't get to Ishka Bibbles enough. It's nowhere near me. I've had it. It's really good.
It's really good. But I will say that I think Poppy Shop cheesesteaks don't get enough love.
Yes.
That is true.
Because my man Six up there at on Master Street, Six can chop some beef, man. That dude, like,
What's your order?
it's dependent. You know what I mean? Like, I'm either American or whiz, depending on how I am. You know, if I'm hungover, I gotta go whiz because that's there's more grease in there.
Whiz
and then
sounds terrible hungover to me.
I'm sorry?
I'm not a whiz guy. Sorry.
it's no, it's fine. But Max, you're completely right. Onions are mood dependent, and I have to have.
I'm glad I can share that with someone.
Yeah, no, it is, and how you cook the onions matters. It is. And I guess my tap out, if I can remember it. Oh yes, we had on our Twitter probably 2 weeks ago were a list of things that could disqualify your mail-in ballot, such as I think it's called like a phantom vote or something like that, a phantom ballot, something like that. We're going to repost that. We're also going to share a couple more things in terms of making sure that your mail-in ballots are counted, are present and accounted for. This November election year. So everybody, if you do plan on voting by mail, make sure you do it right. Make sure you do it by before the deadline when it counts. Do your duty, do your civic duty. And other than that, Philadelphia, thanks for joining us. Keep fighting a good fight. But as always, we are brought to you by MyNEWPhilly, where something is always new and everything's always Philly.
There we go.
Bang, Max got it with me.
Taking forever to wind me up there, man.
That's all right. I like to leave you hanging.
I'll get to it one day.
That's all right. You'll
Baby
get there.
steps.